Assalamu alaikum and welcome to English edition of the Forum with Javed Khan Jadoon. Today's topic is saffronization of Indian armed forces and its implications for peace and stability in South Asia and beyond. Hindu nationalism, as we know, is known as Hindutva, is an ideology that combines religion and nationalism. It emphasizes the supremacy of Hinduism as well. Since its inception in 1925, Hindu nationalism has consistently followed retrogressive practices and intolerance towards religious minorities and communities in India, especially against Muslims. The RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Hindu militant organization and ideologue of BJP, deeply believes in Akhand Bharat, the concept of entire subcontinent being brought under Hindutva. The emergence of BJP leadership under Modi in 2014 initiated a systematic process of incorporating Hindu religious concepts into security organizations known as saffronization, especially in the intelligence community and the armed forces of India. The term saffronization, as we know, refers to the far-right network of Hindu nationalist organizations, the Sangh Parivar, striving to alter Indian history, Indian constitution, and in accordance with their belief of Hinduness in India, where there is no space for any other minority, be that Muslims, Hindus, or rather Christians or Sikhs and other smaller communities as well. The BJP is a political wing of Sangh Parivar. The movement's aim, the main driver of the movement is the RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, and that is the political ideologue of not only BJP but the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi as well, who became the member of RSS when he was 8 years old. The recent jingoistic statements and rhetoric by top Indian military leadership are manifestation of their subservience to Sangh Parivar. Making false claims and fake claims is aimed at reviving the dwindling fortunes of Prime Minister Modi and BJP in India. How dangerous is saffronization of Indian armed forces for peace and stability in South Asia and beyond? This is and more we will discuss with our panelists today. We are joined by Ambassador G.R. Baloch, who is the Director, Global and Regional Studies Center, Karachi. Thank you so much, Ambassador Baloch, for your time for English edition of the forum. Ambassador Baloch, as I pointed out, the saffronization of the Indian armed forces is going on for the last 15 years after Prime Minister Modi came into power. And saffronization has seeped deep into not only the armed forces, but along with armed forces and security apparatus, it has seeped into media, into Bollywood, into business community as well. And even to the extent that now the Indian judiciary has also been incorporated into this particular framework of Hinduness. How dangerous, in your opinion, this trend is, and how it could impact the peace and stability in South Asia in particular, and even beyond South Asian region? Ambassador Baloch.
Thank you, Mr. Jadoon. I think you gave a very good background as to what BJP actually stands for. And this label of BJP is indeed, what you said was correct, is a mask to hide those ethnically motivated ultra-nationalists. In fact, they are the creed which believed in the Nazism, which believed in the fascism. If you look at the Walker, the founder, he was most inspired by Hitler. So it is the same racist mindset. So I would say, before I go, of course, there are many implications we'll be discussing in our conversation. I say they are the biggest threat to the Indian society. We must not forget that Hindu segment of India is not the majority. And who is Hindu also is debatable. In fact, a lot of intellectuals in India say that the kind of Hindu they want to define, RSS wants to define, are not we the Hindus. So basically, in my view, BJP is a bigger threat to its own society. Imagine a country of 1.4 billion divided on ethnic lines. I'm sure you would be knowing that over 1,000 languages are spoken in India. It means there are over 1,000 communities in different parts of the subcontinent. Therefore, I think there is also one aspect of history which they are misreading it, or they are misleading the world.
Right.
I am going back to the Mughal Empire, and then fast forward to British India. These were it was not an state. They were empires. And the difference between an empire and a state is that within the empire there are independent small states. So the biggest, what India thought, that whatever India was given to them by the Britishers also has it has the entitlement to behave like that big empire, which they are not. But now, what the Hindutva crowd is doing there is to divide the society. And I think it's two other things. Yes, very interesting. You know how the fascism and Nazism started? There was a collision between the racists and the capitalists. I see the same dynamics. The Indian corporate sector is hand in gloves with these ultra-nationalist Hindutva crowd. And I believe that it is essentially these things happen because they want monopolies. They want to protect their big money. See, today we say $3 trillion economy of India, but if you take out the money of all those 10, 15 big names of India, and somebody had calculated actually that their per capita would be lower than people in Africa. So there is this facade of development. There's a facade of having a big growth. But essentially, BJP, in my view, Hindutva, is meant to protect that big corporate sector, which has become very powerful in India.
Ambassador Baloch, as you pointed out, or rather you referred to the analogy of Nazism in Germany and the Hindutva forces in India. There are a lot of similarities. They use the same symbol, the RSS, the swastika, and they strongly believe in the same ideology which was followed by Hitler and his Nazi nationalist party in Germany. And the repercussions and implications we are talking about in the subcontinent. Look at the implications. If you look at the implications in Europe and beyond, what Nazism, how it wreaked havoc with the European continent and the entire world, the peace of the world as well. Now we are facing, particularly Pakistan, eastern border, of course, it is India, and India is under Hindutva and under RSS. So Pakistan's challenges to meet with the rabidness and madness in India have multiplied, Ambassador Baloch.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. It's not only Pakistan. Let's not narrow the debate, please. I would request all, and I do write it, that India under BJP is a threat to South Asia, to West Asia. So I think we have to enlarge the question. Question is that how would you, on God's earth, have a racist, a fascist, a Nazi party controlling a nuclear power and apparently representing 1.4 billion people, which of course are being kept under control by those saffronized police and saffronized army. I believe that too. I think Because you see, they don't need Hindutva to fight any other enemy, external enemy. Pakistan, they have been fighting, so they know it. My fear is that it is become already that nobody dare talk against Modi there, and imagine, I mean, all the journalists have been picked up. They are incarcerated, false claims. Even what a spirit under Andurati Rai, the big writer, Arundhati Rai. I mean, she has been put implicated in a false case. So basically, I think it is to control the people inside.
Master Baloch, let us come back to the saffronization of the Indian Armed Forces. Here I quote a few examples. For example, the statements coming from top Indian military commanders in the wake of four-day conflict. At the outset, the Indian CDS, General Anil Chauhan, admitted losing a number of fighter planes, though he said that important is why they went down. But he never claimed any Pakistani fighter plane shot down or in the air or destroyed on the ground. Then lately, the Indian Air Chief, and then followed by the DG Military Operations of India, they started making false claims. Now, here we understand why they were making false claims, because they are serving their political masters, and the political masters are RSS, not BJP, not Prime Minister Modi, because the ideologue party behind is the RSS. And RSS believes that their ego has been hurt. The India's, as you pointed out, a country of 1.4 or 2 billion people. The image has been shattered, not only in India, but globally. Now the Indian Armed Forces commanders are behaving like Rashtriya Swek RSS followers, rather than the military commanders of a professional outfit.
Yeah, I think the last press conference by the air chief, it was even criticized by Indian analysts like Parveen Sohami and other many objective that what is he talking about? Is it the way a soldier talks, that he defends his boss who has taken wrong decision? One. Second, was very interesting that he himself, Parveen Sohani, said that what has happened now, that even their army has abdicated its operational kind of responsibility to Mr. Modi. He select the targets after his his guru tells him which will succeed, which will not succeed. So it's a mindset set of superstition. Unfortunately, the kind of religion that they follow, the Indian leadership and the RSS, and now they are totally in a I call them they are in a confusion mentally. They are not thinking right. They are not thinking strategically. They're not thinking for the future. They're not thinking about their own people. In fact, I really sometimes feel that we really have to target our message to the Indian people that come on, are you that Indians which we saw before? From where this enterprising class has emerged? Believe me, Mr. Jadun, mark these words. I think 10 years hence, then you should listen to me. This enterprising class that we see today in America or North America and other places is gone, because this is the biggest poison that they are doing into their society. Because they want to mislead them, and they want to go for some kind of a sectarian, some kind of a racist competition, not a fair competition on which they thrive. And then if they become fascists in India, you think there are no anti-fascist and anti-Nazi forces in the world? That is why one of the reasons that you see the problem coming in from MAGA, that is Make America Great, they know the real story of BJP for sure, because they have a huge following in North America, BJP, and they all are NRIs, are all very, very devoted RSS members. So they know them. So I think a pushback is already coming on to India. I was reading today, in fact this morning I saw 45% even admission of the Indians into American universities had fallen by 45% in just 1 year. So I think we have to continue to do this like these talks, to expose
Ambassador
the
Baloch, when we talk about saffronize India, as we pointed out, that it's not only a threat to the Indian people or the subcontinent, it is a threat for the entire global peace as well. For example, recently we saw that what they did in Canada, in America. In Canada, they tried to, they rather assassinated a Sikh activist over there. Their outreach now is going beyond the Indian borders. Of course, Pakistan was always the target of their aggression and always the target of using the proxies against Pakistan and Balochistan and KP. They are using the Afghan soil against Pakistan. But for the first time, they went against the targets in Canada and the targets in the USA. So the ugly face of Hindutva and the ugly face of Sangh Parivar was, for the first time, was exposed at the global arena as well, because a lot of conversation took place on the international media and in the think tanks and at the governmental level as well.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, those two indictments are an indictment of not only these organizations that you named, but this is an indictment of the regime in Delhi. It is the indictment of no less than, because one of the reports says, in case of Canada, that they and I think the US as well, that they have identified a very senior official of the Indian government.
Correct.
So they obviously point to the famous Mr. Dewal. So I will not be surprised one day you will find them on that list of people who are proscribed by the International Court of Law if the process moves on, which hopefully will move on. So I think they are on the wrong side of the history. That's a problem. These doctrinal people see the affinity. My God, something new has come into my mind. Imagine that how a Hindutva society or the government, we find it to be on the wrong side of the history. Same is the case with Taliban in Kabul today. And the two are meeting. Who are the best friends? See the affinity, the approach, doctrinal approach. They have also won. They have won. They use Islam. They use Hindutva. So I think India needs to reform itself. India, and other thing, Mr. Jadon, other thing also, remember what I am saying today. Believe me, it is the anti-climax of Modi era. He's gone. He's gone. So now we should prepare for a new, hopefully post-Modi India, and we should, of course, we should keep our horses ready. That are always there. With that, we have been, alhamdulillah, able to establish our deterrence, conventional and non-conventional.
But Ambassador Baloch, the era of Prime Minister Modi may be over, but the era of Hindutva and Sangh Parivar is probably not going away anytime soon, because they have not only saffronized the Indian media, they have saffronized, as you pointed out, the Indian big businesses as well. And in particular, they have saffronized the Indian judiciary. I can give you an example. Malegaon incident took place about 15 years ago. A serving lieutenant colonel who was that particular time was deployed to occupied Jammu and Kashmir along with Sadhvi from the BJP. They carried out the Malegaon terrorist attack against Muslims. They were indicted and put behind the bars. And now the same judiciary, after 15 years, exonerated them, and they came out of the prison scot-free. That shows the kind of compromises have been made at the judicial level as well. So it's a complete stranglehold of the society. Do you believe that with the departure of Prime Minister Modi, you believe that the saffronization is going to get weakened?
Well, it may not. It will be weakened. It may not finish, of course. There's a lot to be done by the opposition. Need to be done by it. I think it will require them years to clean up the mess that is created into the societal mess. Forget about that. I think. I mean, he's a criminal of the society. He is. He has obliterated a subtle society which always coexisted for thousands of years. India has been a crossroad of religions, culture, languages, people for thousands of years. Here he comes, he wants to obliterate all of that and turn it into a monolithic. No, he cannot. He is on the wrong side of the history. That I am certain about. Timing, I don't know when he will go, but my hunch is that it is the anticlimax of Modi. And just to quote, a prime minister who used to rival in the company and hugging all these big leaders, European, American especially, and Trump, my friend, next time, agli bari, Trump sarkar. He cannot face him. He missed UN General Assembly, which he has never missed in his entire career. This is the first time that he did not go there. He missed APEC. He has never missed APEC, which was in South Korea, where Mr. Trump made that interesting comment about the war between Pakistan and India, and he even imitated him. That he said, no, I want to fight, and so on and so forth. Anyway, that is his style, Mr. Trump's style. And he did not go to the ASEAN. He sends his Mr. Jaishankar, who takes his nice, innocent face with his what a waste of his mind, his skills, and he himself. Of course, the entire society is being saffronized, but the way Mr. His foreign minister, Mr. Jaishankar, who's supposed to be a scholar, who was considered actually, because he's been in the foreign service so long, and one watches all these people.
But that is quite obvious, given the fact that every top political leader in Bharatiya Janata Party has been saffronized. Ambassador Baloch, is one more important thing. When we talk about the departure of Prime Minister Modi, of course, his fortunes are now literally gone down because of the outcome of the 4-day conflict with Pakistan. The kind of hysteria he created in India, the jingoism and the rhetoric, he made the people of India to believe that India can defeat Pakistan in this limited conflict. Not happened. India's myth of invincibility was shattered. India's myth, rather the wrong notion of the net security provider, was shattered by Pakistan, and of course his very significant role in the Indo-Pacific region, it came to an end, as now we know that President Trump is not going to visit India to participate in the Quad Summit as well. But now my question to you is, when we talk about the departure of Prime Minister Modi from the political scene, the people waiting in the shadows include Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, more saffronized, more dangerous, more rabid in his political rhetoric. So I believe that the people going to follow Prime Minister Modi would be more radicalized and more saffronized. How you see it, Ambassador Baloch?
Yeah, that is also a scenario. There are different scenarios. I believe that in the long term, Mr. Jadon, India deserves to be divided into several states, which was the natural form. You brought me to the point that I earlier discussed with you, that India was never a state, it was an empire, right? So the empire, they left halfway. The British, when they left this, they did not do the complete justice with the people, and not even with the nature. The division was, and as we know now, Kashmir should have been part of Pakistan, and several areas which have been given to many other, to India, should have been part of Pakistan. But I think India, if it has to be a state the way they want one state to be there, they have to be secular, they have to be democratic. If they become saffronized and they think that they can become racists, they can become Nazis, the fate is predetermined of such regimes. They implode, because we must not underestimate the other entities which are there. Tamil Nadu had, there are several other, Bengal, West Bengal. They are very strong identities of these local identity. These people have it. Of course, what to talk of the northern areas, Mizoram and all those places which they already have declared their independence. So India will have to go back to its original spirit of its constitution. It has to secularize. It has to democratize. That is the only way India can be good for its people and India can be good for South Asia. And that is the only time when Pakistan and India can normalize relations. But under the dispensation, I think we'll have to continue to keep a watch on them.
Ambassador Baloch, the inherent problem at the situation right now which prevails in India is that the main opposition party, the Indian National Congress, probably has weakened to the extent that it has failed to put up a kind of a resistance, particularly when there was a wrong notion of India being a secular state. They never put up a resistance to resist the Indian BJP's onslaught against the constitution. Constitution has totally been mutilated. And now look at what happened in media. A media landscape also is important because the last remaining independent outlet was the Hindu newspaper, of course, a respected newspaper, the NDTV. They were taken over by Adani, India's basically Prime Minister Modi's buddy and a businessman and a big businessman in India. So they have not left any single media outlet in India which can air the independent views, rather criticize the Bharatiya Janata Party or Prime Minister Modi or Sangh Parivar. So given there is absolutely, you pointed out one or two individuals. Other than that, India has totally subjugated in front of the RSS and the Sangh Parivar.
No, I to tell you what happens. I mean, if we look at the history of Nazism and fascism, this is what exactly they did. Apparently, they give a impression of being tough, of being all in control. But the opposition simmers because they are so overwhelming and they are so brutal in their use of force that people kind of hide behind and they wait. After all, if this was a sustainable doctrine of Nazism and fascism, Mussolini wouldn't have gone, Hitler would have gone, and they not only went, they brought their countries along, went down with their country. So if BJP stays, India goes down with the BJP. If the only escape hatch for India is to go back to its spirits, to go back to its original constitution, which is secular, which is multicultural, which is inclusive. You cannot have an exclusive dispensation in a multicultural, such a diverse country. You cannot have it. It's not possible. No political theory tells us that this is feasible or it's doable for too long. So I think I know the Indian National Congress is not really weak because they did a good job, because they also manipulated the votes, which they're not able to again. He has been raising his voice, Mr. Gandhi, but he is not Rahul Gandhi. What is the gentleman's name? The National Congress leader. He has been I think working good. I think he is resisting them and he is showing them the face. But hopefully we will see hopefully some changes when the elections take place.
You talked about the implosion in India. Look what is happening, as you already pointed out, the northeastern states, and then recently in Ladakh there was a very massive uprising, and the ongoing militancy in the Naxalite affected states of India. About 10 to 12 states are affected by Naxalite insurgency as well. And there's another dimension, Ambassador Baloch, and that is the north and south divide. The 5 southern states, including Tamil Nadu and so on and so forth, they have been putting up a lot of resistance against Hindi belt domination and the resources being drawn from the southern belt and being invested in the poverty-stricken regions in the north. So that divide is also playing an important and critical role in driving India towards that implosion we are talking about, Ambassador Baloch.
Yeah, indeed. There are so many inequalities. In fact, I have to update my information, and maybe you also have to look at it, that there is an index of inequality which is compiled every year. So I think India is pretty low in that. Very, very low, in fact. It is one of those worst countries where inequality is prominent. So the regional inequalities and within the region inequalities. See, the problem is this, that the system of cost, which Zat-Paat, the way what we say, is unfortunately has been which has informed, unfortunately, Indian part of this region for many, many years. And it has not gone down. It has not gone down at all. And there's one more, I think, aspect that I want you to, we will refer to it and maybe we can discuss in our next, that how Brahman is able to control everything. And one thesis is, there's a very interesting thesis somewhere, we'll try and exchange notes on that, that the Brahman, what it does, that it divides communities to control it. It's the same, what we say, divide and rule. So if you look at the overall internal structure of their governance, you will find a Brahman controlling actually things, whereas other denominations, they are just minions, they do the physical work. So this aspect also has to be seen, that how Brahman has now found a new toxin to toxicate the entire society, not only for itself, but for the region and for its neighbors. So I think we should discuss this, how Brahman is dominating India and what disaster it has brought to India. It's not at all a merit-based governance at all. So this needs to be also researched by our researchers and young people like you to see. We got to really kind of go deep into them. It's a very complex society. So we have to identify those factors which gave space to Hindutva to thrive, and then also identify those which still give sustenance to it. As we said, corporate sector is one. Okay, and of course now the timidity of the opposition is two. The other thing which we did not discuss is that they have muzzled entirely the intellectual debate within India, as is happening all over the world, that they don't want to discuss these issues at all. They are a no-no area at all for them, and they cannot, because they have vigilantes everywhere. So this is the typical fascist regime, which might have another 5 years, maybe, I don't know. But ultimately, India will find its soul, hopefully. It will find its that ethos in which the subcontinent was carved over the years, after all, where everybody lived together peacefully. And there is no way. I mean, they have about over 500 million people living below poverty line. We have poverty problems also. So, and whole South Asia, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, none of us is escaping that. So this is the only unfortunate region which is just being on war with each other. So we need to really also send this message down to those people in India, that how unfortunate you are, how unsafe you are now. Another thing, see, they used to think, okay, the middle class, lower middle class, bache ko, let the guy do his BA, BSc, whatever, and send it to America and France and Paris so that we are happy. No, now they have to keep their children in India, and so is the case with all other people. So we have to make our region peaceful. We have to make our countries livable, and that is only possible if you avoid war. That is only possible if you reject these extremist and racist policies and doctrines. Yes, yes.
Ambassador, if we circle back to saffronized Indian Armed Forces, once again, very strong armed forces in numbers, 1.5, nuclear state, of course, and the aggressive posturing notwithstanding, saffronization is deep rooted now in the Indian Armed Forces. It is not, it's not a facade. It is in fact total indoctrination of the top military commanders now. Now, the complexity of the issue has to be understood by the global community as well, that India, as they see it, is not the country they believe this country is. There is no secularism, there is no tolerance towards the minorities, there is a very concerted and holistic approach being adopted, the doctrines like Ajit Doval doctrine, to carry out proxies against the neighboring countries and even beyond. So why global community at the end of the day has some kind of a soft corner towards India, despite the fact that they know everything what is happening inside India, how Indian polity has been fractured and how Indian polity has been compromised by the Hindutva forces. They still see India as the largest or the biggest democracy, which is kind of a fallacy. Probably they know it, what they're doing.
No, I think first of all, let me correct you, because I lived in several countries. This is kind of a, we keep saying it. I don't know why we say that people respect more, they think India. No, India is what it is. The feedback that now I get it from those people who are born abroad, that now the foreigners, they know that, in fact, a lot of commentators, Western commentators, they bring in Modi, Putin and Netanyahu in the same rank. These are authoritarian, populist leaders who use doctrines, religious doctrines and scriptures to perpetuate their rule. So no more, no less. So no, not at all. India has lost that glamour that we thought once was, because it is gone. It is gone. And we should not blame at all the world. What we need to do is that do a deep research into these aspects that we touched upon, brushed up
Ambassador
in a broad brush.
Ambassador Baloch, it's not the public opinion which matters in the Western world. It is the decision makers who see India differently as being seen by the people you're talking about in the respective countries. Yes.
Oh, no. Don't have no. Public opinion is the most potent thing. Do you think that Trump would have, or the other France, Britain, and other countries would have recognized Palestinian state? What was it? It was the force of the public opinion, galvanized by the, of course, by the brave people.
Let us get back to India, because that would be straying away.
I'm coming back to India. Yeah, I'm coming back to India. Okay. So no, I think I would like to go that. How does it impact us to confront India in a future conflict? If it is saffronized, it really doesn't matter for us, in my view. Yeah, it is saffronized. They consider us enemy, or likewise we reciprocate them with the same title. Okay. Now, what is happening that is saffronized army is being given new equipment. Today I just saw a article, and which is very dangerous, that they are acquiring on what they call it emergency procurement procedures. You know why Sindoor was paused? A lot of us believe that perhaps they want to restart the war. No, sir. They paused it to cheat their system so that they can procure it without going through the process. They want to purchase equipment, and they thought now we will have an opportunity. You see, what happens, these dictators, they always use crisis to their advantage. So what they did was, poor taxpayers' money, without audit, without going through the procedures, they have purchased over $4.5 billion worth of equipment since Sindoor. They have ordered it. And the other dangerous thing that I was reading in that article is that they have equipping their most of these regiments, about 380 battalions are regiments, same thing, yeah, with drones. and with loitering ammunition. And they already have placed orders which are already with them. And you know what? The drones are loitering. What is their target? Civilians, which is again a war crime. So it means this regime is preparing its army for targeting civilians.
Yeah. Ambassador Baloch, we are running short of time. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you so much for joining the English version of the forum. Listeners, we talked about the saffronization of the Indian armed forces. We talked about how India has been converted and pushed into the corner by the Hindutva forces and by the RSS forces and by the Modi regime and the BJP. Be that the massacre of the Muslims in Gujarat or demolition of the historic Babri Masjid in Ayodhya, or even the continuous campaign of demolishing every icon of the last Muslim rule in India, is being seen as a very concerted, very organized campaign to remove every symbol, every symptom, and every icon in India which recounts the glory of the Muslim era. And now Muslims are being seen as the second-class citizens along with the Dalit. The Muslims who ruled about 800 years subcontinent and now being seen as people who have been relegated at the bottom. They have got no basic fundamental rights. Rights to education, healthcare, and jobs are being denied to the Muslims. Same is the situation, same is the case as far as the other minorities are concerned, including the Christians and the Dalit and even Sikhs and Jains as well. The complexity of the Indian society is that India, which was trying to project itself as a secular state, even that semblance of secularism is gone now. It has been overtaken by the dark forces of Hindutva and Sangh Parivar. Now every state, every important state in India is being ruled by the BJP and the dark forces of RSS and Hindutva. India has become a threat to its own people. India has become a threat to South Asia. India has become a threat beyond, including what we saw happen in Canada and in the United States of America when the Indian operatives tried to assassinate or assassinated one in Canada and tried to assassinate another in the United States of America. And what's going on in Pakistan, the proxy war India is waging in Pakistan, using its proxies against to destabilize rather Pakistan. This is indicative that we have got a state, a nation on our border, on our eastern border, which is basically a destabilizing factor. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.